All right, well, just one day after the contentious congressional hearings held in Lower Manhattan taking aim at crime in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and NYPD Commissioner Keishant Sewell doubled down on the fact that they're working together to make our streets safer.
We will never be expeditious that is going to endanger allowing guilty people to walk free. And so our hearts goes out to the family. We're going to continue to communicate to the community, but it was about being thorough so we do not make the mistake of being premature and allow dangerous people to stay on the street.
This case, once again, epitomizes the relentless work that the women and men of the NYPD perform each day to keep New York City safe.
Our partnership is hard at work and on display every single day in helping to keep this city safe.
Now, while that press conference centered around a recent string of fentanyl overdoses targeting the LGBTQ+ community, the message was very clear. Public safety is a top priority. Joining us this morning is Congressman Adriano Espaillat, who attended Monday's field hearing and argued that crime and gun control go hand in hand. So good morning, Congressman. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
So again, you were there at Monday's field hearing. It was pretty contentious with both sides throwing out a lot of statistics about crime in New York City. So what did you actually walk away with from that hearing?
What I walked away with is that there are other jurisdictions like Louisiana, Ohio, Texas, Florida, where crime is 32% higher. In Texas, is 42% higher. In Ohio, is 59% higher. The murder rates are higher there. But the Republican majority chose New York City because it is in this jurisdiction that the former president got arrested and charged. If they really want to take care of violence, we should take care of guns. 80% of the homicides happen with a gun. And so we must address this gun crisis, this gun epidemic across the country, if we really want to get to the root of homicides and very violent crimes sweeping across the country.
Yeah, we know that, according to FBI statistics, New York is one of the safest large cities, I think number 5 on the list. Cleveland, Ohio has the 7th most dangerous city. That's in Mr. Jordan's district. Obviously, no mention of those types of statistics at that hearing.
Well, that's correct. And I come from Washington Heights, and back in the 90s, we had the crack wars there. The 34th precinct used to average, in some years, over 100 homicides. One year, they had over 120 homicides. Last year, they had far too many, but 5. And this year, up until today, 0. And so this is a place where that was synonymous with death back in the 90s. And yet, we see the numbers now. Now, obviously, if you're a victim of a crime, you don't feel that way. And we must address that. We must address that. We must not ignore how people feel about crime. But you don't do that by ignoring the common denominator in homicides and in violent crimes, which is clearly a gun.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear what the situation is right now in the city. But yesterday, we had New York City Councilman Robert Holden, a Democrat, on Pix 11. And he testified that crime is worse now than it was in the 70s and 80s. I mean, you were here during that time. So what's your response to hearing that?
No, I don't know where he was in the 80s, but I tell you, I saw murder at point blank range in a sunny midday afternoon. Right in my district. This is, people forget how it was back in the 80s and 90s. But again, if you feel like you're victimized, if you've been a victim, we must address that. And we're not saying that we shouldn't address that. All I'm saying is that 80% of the homicides come at the barrel of a gun. And what the Republican majority is choosing to ignore any type of gun control measure. Not just the assault weapons ban, but what about handguns? They show up in our corners, illegal handguns from southern states. And you know what happens on the weekend? 2 young people shoot each other. So what's the common denominator? A gun. Let's bring efforts, common sense legislation to restrict the flow of illegal guns to our city.
And what's scary is kids with guns.
Yeah. So, Congressman, after this opening salvo, if you will, is there any word on when the Judiciary Committee might be holding yet another field hearing?
We don't know, but I hope it's in Ohio. You know, I mean, he chose to, the chairman chose to ignore that, very conveniently ignore that. I hope it's in Florida, you know, where, you know, lots of stuff is unfortunately happening there. And people, some folks choose to ignore it. You know, we're not saying that we're not listening to the witnesses that testify. We're not saying that we're not listening to victims. We are very much listening to them. And the mayor, as you said earlier, and the police commission are working very hard, because I'm working with them, bringing more police officers to our neighborhoods, bringing programs for young people. But most importantly, we must pass in Congress common sense gun control legislation.
Yeah, well, we shall see.
All right, Congressman Adriano Espaillat, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank
sir.
you, and thank you for pronouncing my name right.